Good day, students. Welcome to this subject, Social Studies, Grade 8A and 8B. Your teacher here, Miss MJ. This video will serve as a recap makeup class, especially for the students who weren't able to join our Google Meet class. Let's proceed to our online learning discussion now. So class, before we proceed to our online learning discussion, I would like us to have a short recap or review of the last topics discussed. European countries, physical and political maps. So we have discussed about Europe, and there are 50 countries in Europe. We have discussed about the physical map of Europe. So as you can see here, the dominant colors, blue means the water, green means the vegetation, and brown means the land area. We also discussed about the political map of Europe, which shows us the different countries of Europe as well as its capital cities. So class, the objective of our lesson for today is students must be able to know about Europe's geography. So at the end of our online learning discussion, I expect that you can already determine important facts or information about Europe's geography. So class, our topic for today is about Europe's geography, and these are the words to learn or vocabulary words. Please repeat after me so you can still practice your reading skills and your speaking skills even if you are just at home. Are you ready now? Let's start reading. Number 1, rain bearing. Number 2, bitterly cold. Number 3, geography. Number 4, continent. And number 5, capital city. Now let's read the meaning of these words one by one. Rain-bearing, warm, moist, air is forced to rise over high areas. Air cools and condenses, forming clouds. It rains. Air descends, warms, and becomes drier. Next word is bitterly cold. It means cutting, biting, glacial, Arctic, icy, freezing, ice cold, bitter, frozen, and piercing. The third word is geography. It means earth science, environment, topography, geographics, geology, terrain, cartography, chorography, ground, and layout. The fourth word is continent. Continent means celibate, abstemious, chaste, temperate, sober, abstinent, pure, ascetic, mainland, and land. And the last one is capital city, means metropolis, capital, capital, chief town, provincial capital. So these are the 5 words that can help us better understand our topic for today. Let's read them again from numbers 1 to 5. Rain-bearing, bitterly cold, geography, continent, and capital city.
Europe is the second smallest of the Earth's continents, occupying a little less than 7% of its total land area. Europe is a land where forests and farm fields abound. It's home to around 745 million people, or roughly 11% of the Earth's total population. The European continent consists of the westernmost portion of the huge landmass known as Eurasia, which it shares with the continent of Asia. The mainland of Europe is bordered to the south by the Mediterranean Sea, the Black Sea, and the Caspian Sea. It's bounded by the Arctic Ocean to the north and by the Atlantic Ocean to the west. Europe's long boundary with Asia traditionally is said to be made up of the Ural Mountains, the Caucasus Mountains, and the Turkish Straits that link the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. Several large islands, such as Great Britain, Ireland, and Iceland, are considered to be part of Europe as well. Even far distant Greenland is linked culturally and politically to Europe. Historically, Europe's cultural influence worldwide has been quite great. This is due to the fact that hundreds of years ago, certain powerful European nations carried out intensive programs of world exploration that led to their colonization of far distant lands. Because of their colonies, many aspects of European culture, including legal systems, languages, religions, art, architecture, and even ways of dress, were introduced to countries all around the world. Today, the territory of the European continent is divided up into 50 independent nations, in which more than 100 native languages are spoken. In Europe, almost all of its governments are democratic republics or constitutional monarchies. Christianity is by far the predominant faith in Europe and has profoundly influenced its thought and culture for well over 1,000 years. Most of the countries in the southwestern parts of Europe have deep roots in the Roman Catholic Church, which is headquartered in Rome, in the Vatican City. While in Northern Europe, a large number of people are Protestants. In the more eastern parts of the continent, many belong to the Eastern Orthodox Catholic Church. A few of Europe's Balkan Peninsula nations, such as Albania, seen here, have Muslim majority populations. Geographically, Europe's western and southern regions abound with mountainous and hilly terrain, and most of these lands are heavily forested. The Alps, which stretch across 8 different countries, are the continent's most extensive and tallest range of mountains. With the exception of the lower elevation mountain ranges of Scandinavia, Poland, and Slovakia, the majority of northern and eastern Europe consists of fairly flat plains, most of which are used for farming. Climatically, Europe receives a fairly significant amount of precipitation, and that's why the continent has so many large navigable rivers, and why it lacks any real deserts. A small percentage of Europe extends above the Arctic Circle, but most of its territory lies in the temperate zone. As a result, for the most part, the European climate is relatively mild. Nearer the Mediterranean Sea, the European climate is much warmer than in the north. However, further away from its coasts, in the continent's interior regions, more extreme temperature variations can occur, most notably during the winter months when icy continental air masses move down from the north.
Now let's discuss about Europe's geography. Europe is the smallest continent in the world, apart from Australia. It stretches westwards from the Ural Mountains to the Atlantic Ocean. The Urals form the border between Europe and Asia, which shares the same piece of land. So Europe and Asia class is actually connected, but they are naturally separated by Urals or Ural Mountains. North of Europe lies in the cold, snowy wilderness from where the Scandinavian peninsula curves south around the Baltic. Much of Central Europe is a huge plain. When you say plain class, it means flat land. Huge means big. The weather is hot in summer, bitterly cold in winters. This plain stretches from Russia to France and southern England, covering the countries of Poland, Germany, the Netherlands, and Belgium. The climate is milder in the west. It has rain-bearing winds from the Atlantic Ocean and a warm ocean current called the North Atlantic Drift. Southern Europe is divided from the north of the continent by the mountain ranges of Pyrenees, Alps, and Carpathians. In the southwest, much of the area is a hot, dry plateau. So when you say plateau class, it's actually high, but in the middle of it or at the top of it is plain. It is separated from North Africa by the narrow Strait of Gibraltar. If Europe and Asia is separated by Ural Mountains, Europe and North Africa is separated by the Gibraltar. The arid, rugged mountains as well as any rocky islands can be found in Greece, in the far southeast of Europe. The lands around the Mediterranean Sea have mild winters and warm summers. Olives, oranges, lemons, grapes, and cotton grow well in these areas. Now class, for the summary of the topics discussed, so we have Europe's geography. So Europe's physical geography. Europe is a continent of peninsulas and islands. Physically, Europe can be divided into four regions: Western Uplands, Northern European Plain, Central Uplands, and Alpine System. Now let's read them one by one. Western Uplands is also known as Northern Highlands. Next, Northern European Plain is also known as Great European Plain. And the last one, Central Upland. And another one is Alpine or Mountainous System. So class, for your activity, just click the link in the Google Classroom to answer. And it looks like this. So all you have to do, class, is to identify the correct country on the map in here by writing the number. After you write numbers 1 to 18, click finish, click check my answer, screenshot, write your name, and upload in Social Studies album in your line group. Good luck, everyone! Class, we now come to the end of our online learning discussion. I hope you have learned something about Europe's geography. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, please feel free to call me or send me a message in my personal line account, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much. Until next time. Goodbye, everyone.